very soon after his arrival at court that she doesn't speak any Urdu, but that she's interested, and he sits down and says, okay, let's start.
She was. Queen Victoria had never traveled to India. Now, she was the Empress of India, and she longed to find out. I mean, this was her jewel in the crown, and she'd never touched it. So when Abdul comes, all the reports she got were from the viceroys or from her son or whatever. It was, you know, the upper India as they'd seen it. What Abdul did was, Abdul was India. He came to her, and he brought her the stories from the streets. He told her about, you know, described the heat and dust of Agra, the festivals, the politics, and then she was so intrigued she wanted to learn Urdu. So I'm going to read you a little bit of the way Abdul Karim taught the Queen Urdu. This is quite amusing. There was a little phrase book. These are from the Hindustani journals, which she maintained with him for 13 years. So initially, he gave her a little phrase book. It's a Windsor Castle, a little gold-lined red phrase book with a few words written in it. Words, everyday words like anyone, koi, animal, janwar, anger, khafa, to those of you who know a little bit of Hindi. Then there were phrases, so standard phrases like you may go home if you like, tum ghar jao agar chahte ho. The tea is always bad at Osborne, to a lady. Chai Osborne mein hamesha kharab hai. There's worse. The egg is not boiled enough. Anda theek se ubla nahi hai. So can you imagine the Queen sitting there in Osborne and saying, Anda theek se ubla nahi hai. And then, very intriguingly, there's a line there, you will miss the Munshi very much. Tum Munshi ko bahut yaad karoge. And this has been dictated by the Munshi. And the most intriguing, hold me tight, humko mazboot thamo.
So how long did it, I mean, he started as a servant, but ended up, as you say, the scribe and the clerk. So how long did it take him to go rise in her?
Rapidly. From his diaries, which actually I recently discovered in Karachi, and which have been updated in this book, I know he writes in that he was unhappy. He was an arrogant man. He was a clerk in Agra jail. He felt, this was menial job for him waiting at tables. So he threw a tantrum within a month of his arriving and said, it's not for me, I'm going back. And the Queen actually begs him to stay on, saying, I like you so much, and do stay, I want to learn Urdu. So he's immediately elevated and becomes a munshi.
And then she starts to give him preferments of various kinds. She starts to favor him.
He's ranked with the household. And let's not forget the household. They are the gentry, with their morning coats and their total proper tops, top hats and all. And Abdul Karim is now allowed. He's given his houses, he's given a carriage, he's allowed to use the billiards room. So one turban among all those. Then he's given the best seats in the opera. If he's not in the royal box, he throws a tantrum. So he's always in the royal box. He sits there. There are plays they do in Osborne House, and he's given a role in them. So yes. he is rising rapidly, and of course this causes enormous discontent. Gossip,
in fact,
everything.
Almost everybody turns against him. The Indians who felt that he was getting things that he didn't necessarily deserve,
exactly.
The rest of the court who...
Exactly.
So talk about how that began to bubble.
Absolutely. Within months, everybody realizes. Remember, two servants had come. One was the portly, smiling Muhammad Baksh, and the other was a 24-year-old, tall, handsome Abdul Karim. And the Queen picked the young, tall, handsome Abdul Karim out of the two. So it was very obvious that he was the chosen one, and they were obviously jealous. So the household is jealous because anything Karim wants, he gets. He's given land in Agra, 500 acres of land, and he's given palaces. A house is built for him in Balmoral, and the Queen calls it Karim Cottage. So it's still there in Balmoral if any of you visit. It's part of the royal estates, and it survives. So naturally there is a huge anger and jealousy against him, and they try everything. They say he's a spy. Now things don't change. He was a Muslim spy for the Amir of Afghanistan. He is leaking secrets. He is doing this, theft, name it. They sort of try to pin everything on him. But the Queen just stands there and will not hear any of it. They even try to go on strike.
Yeah. And was that when she swept everything off of the table?
She used to take him on all her journeys to Europe and wherever. And the royal household said, no, we're going to go on strike because we have to sit in the same room and eat with him. And one of them is chosen to go give this news that we are going to go on strike to the Queen. And the minute she hears this, she gets into a huge rage and she sweeps everything on her table on the floor. So papers, pens, memos, bottles, ink pots crashing to the floor. And this lady who'd given this message just goes howling from the thing, tells the rest of the household. So what of the strike? Nobody goes on strike. The royal party goes to Europe, and Abdul Karim is, of course, there with the Queen.